Your home with BuildAid on Mix 93.8. Proudly brought to you by AfriSam. AfriSam, creating concrete possibilities.
BuildAid on Mix 93.8 FM. Good evening. My name's Graham Alexander. In the studio, as usual, Kay looking after all of us and Simon looking after the desk. What fun are we going to have tonight, Kay?
Well, 83 years ago this week, the first drive-in theatre was opened. And here's quite a cute story. Well, the guy who invented it did so because his mom loved movies and she was a little bit too large to fit into a normal theatre seat. So this guy decided to stick his mom in a car, and he put a projector up in his garden and put it in front of it. And that's how the drive-in theatre was born. So our question tonight, very easy one. There were 3 sort of major drive-ins in Joburg back in the day. They were all closed down now. If you know the name of the one that was on top of a mine dump, you could win what, Graham? Bag of oranges.
Yeah, let's do a bag of oranges.
Everyone needs the vitamin C.
Yeah, I think we take it slow on the ice cream for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So bag of oranges.
Bag of oranges. So if you know the name of the drive-in that was on top of a mine dump, SMS us on 41348.
BuildAid on Mix 93.8. Our guest this evening is Vaughan Harris from the BIM Institute. Vaughan, thanks so much for coming to chat to us.
Yeah, good evening, Graham. Thanks.
All the way from Cape Town.
Yeah, I brought my passport.
Yep, and we're going to drop you off at the Gautrain later, so really thanks so much for making it.
Thanks very much for having me.
Vaughan, let's get straight into it. We're using a term already, BIM, or an acronym, BIM. What is that?
Yeah, Graham, I think it's a new acronym to a lot of people in the industry globally. It's not software, something it is related to, obviously, on the construction side. You can't buy the software. It's a process. What people need to remember, BIM is not a career. So yes, you can adopt BIM within the process within your organization or on a project, but people need to understand that the software is only a pillar of the entire process related to BIM. Although we understand BIM is building information modeling is best known, but it also has building information management, business information mobility. It's really just another word for big data management, really.
Yeah, because I think the common sort of view on it is it's a modeling sort of 3D program, and I'm talking specifically about the residential building industry. That probably still has a way to go with regard to BIM, but we're going to chat about that a little later in the show. When it comes to modeling, a program like Revit or ArchiCAD, are these the general sort of tools or bits of software that one would use to start the first process? And I guess that's build a model of a building or of anything for that matter.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the foundation to your structure. So you're going to start with an architect's conceptual design. And that, again, as I referred to it, is the pillar of what you're creating. You're going to start with the model, and you're actually going to end with the model. In between that, you're going to have various processes, various amounts of data accumulating. You're also going to have a lot of activities between various disciplines that may not necessarily involve using software. But there again, it's that R within the BIM that is fundamental to everybody. It's how you manage information in a secure environment. And that secure information is always pushed back to the model, better known in a graphical environment, which we refer to as 3D. What we need to remember is 3D is not just the start. It's only really the start of BIM. We come from a 2D, which we understand is 2D CAD. And that now sort of evolves into 3D and three-dimensional. Then, obviously, BIM, we start talking about 4D. So 4D then is the planning side of the model. You've got 5D, five-dimensional, which is then your costing side of the model. The next sort of level up from dimensions is 6D. Now 6D is more from the facilities management. That is the life cycle costing side as well. And then finally you've got your seventh dimension, which is dealing with the supply chain. And again, it's always your supply chain that's left till the end, but they are absolutely the most critical.
Vaughan, let me see if I'm getting this right in my head. So we have a model of a home. Obviously, it's not a balsa wood model. This is something on a computer. And Related to the model, there are bricks and windows and glazing and all the products that would go into building the home, which may also include labor items. But a model could also produce other information like energy efficiency, whether the building is efficient and so on. So depending on how it's set up, one could get a lot of information out of this model.
Yeah, absolutely. A very good analogy to sort of look at that is imagine yourself walking into a supermarket and you're there to buy products. If you could pick up, let's say, a banana off the shelf and understand exactly what the content of that banana and the ingredients was all about. So I could understand the kilojoules, the amount of sugar in that banana, what is the carbon content of that, what is the lifespan, who is the producer or the supplier of that banana. That's just an understanding of sort of the value of information. If I could take that information and put it into a building environment where you talk about a brick, you talk about a basin, if I could understand who supplied that basin, what type of basin is it, who installed it, that is all enough information in one little object that forms the recipe of a very big menu.
Yeah. If I look at it from a homeowner's point of view, I'm probably not going to have that kind of software. I may have access to viewing what the results are, but I'm going to be dependent on the architect or the architectural professional producing this information. I guess that could be very handy for the homeowner because this model is producing all sorts of information like costs. Is that a correct view?
Yeah, I think that's opening another can of worms on a discussion. But certainly, yes. I think for the general homeowner who starts to think, well, does this mean I have to buy ArchiCAD or Revit because I want to get into 3D modeling? Absolutely not. I think what people need to realize is that we have our experts in our field, and that's why we have software such as Revit and ArchiCAD that drive the design of these buildings. There's a lot of free software out there that actually a lot of residential owners who are doing upgrades or starting new homes from scratch, that there is free software out there that actually allows you to view these models online. And the key is collaboration, and it's how you want to share your information in that model. And we always see pretty pictures of these monolithic 3D models of houses, and we tend to buy or build our houses based on what the architects designed. BIM is giving us that key to the door before we've actually got the physical key to the door. Let us go through your house. Let's drive through the house together in a 3D visual environment. It's virtual reality on your front door, and that's what the software is really there for initially. We talk software. We could be talking about Excel. We could be talking about your estimating program. How do you handle your counting of your information? If you are a homeowner, is it through Excel? Is it or using Pastel for a small builder? And these are all discussions that, again, we go back to that word of data. How do you manage your own data? How do you manage your drawings? How do you manage your documents? It is the start of BIM.
Vaughan, the BIM Institute, what do you guys do? What is it about?
The BIM Institute came into task in May last year. We like to look at ourselves as a non-biased entity that is independent of all information that is relative to construction technology. So we could be looking at ourselves as the voice of technology for the construction industry, a custodian to supporting industry standards around building information modeling as well as other construction software. So it forms a body where we like to control or advise people on best practice. One of our biggest drives is creating what we refer to as the BIM protocol. It's, again, a standard that we're trying to implement into the industry. And this is not something new. We're not creating a wheel here from scratch again. We're adopting first world standards. We certainly are one of, currently to date, there's over 37 countries that have mandated BIM throughout the country in order to drive government drive towards BIM at a public sector. There's no reason why we can't do BIM in a private sector as well as a residential sector. In fact, it's more exciting for the homeowner to manage his house with control of everything, because that is what we're doing. And a lot of homeowners tend to lose control when it comes to a builder not understanding the industry. And very quickly we turn to our builder and we think he's the professional. So we're giving you the tools now to actually be part of it and engage with the team and be kept at what we refer to as real time. You're not waiting till the end of the week or the end of the month to get that big surprise of the next invoice that's going to land on your lap.
As software speeds up, and I think more importantly in South Africa, our bandwidth speeds up, we're going to be able to go into the tap, as you said earlier, and look at the washer inside and link it to a building material supplier. At the moment, things are a little bit slow, but I'm sure that's going to improve in the not too distant future.
Yeah, pretty much. I think bandwidth is what controls everything in the cloud. And a lot of the information we're finding that the developers of the software are engaging better in understanding that there are less fortunate countries like South Africa and the rest of Africa who don't have a great bandwidth.
So, Kay, who won the bag of oranges?
Well, we only had 2 wrong answers, so I'd love to give everyone a bag of oranges, but we can't because it's not feasible. So, Simon, you win a bag of oranges, not our Simon.
Me?
Not you. No.
Goody.
That's just Simon, because his autocorrect was quite cute. He said it was the movie title we were looking for was Tartan and the Ape Man. And the movie house we were looking for, the drive-in, was Top Star Drive-In. And then just a little note from Vince here, who says he's only got 1 tub of mortar ice cream left. He won it a couple of weeks ago. And Vince, I just want to say I'm so surprised you have any left at all. And we'll start giving away ice cream again soon when summer's coming.
Okay, was the other drive-in the Veldskoen?
Yes, Veldskoen. There's
Veldskoen.
no D in it.
Veldskoen.
Yes.
Okay. Kay, looking after all of us, thank you so much. Simon on the desk, Ian videoing the show to go onto YouTube, and my special guest, Vaughan Harris, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Gary. Great to be here. Yeah, I owed you that.
You did. Up next is Adam Ford Cortina and Motoring in the Mix. We do this every Wednesday between 6 and 7. Chat you next week. Ciao.
Your home with BuildAid on Mix brings you all sorts of interesting info about building. Graham Alexander chats to different guests every Wednesday evening between 6 and 7. Proudly brought to you by AfriSam. AfriSam, creating concrete possibilities.